Okay, hello again, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for joining Dragon Trail International for our September webinar. Today, we're going to share the results of our latest Chinese traveler sentiment report, which is based on a survey of more than 1,000 mainland Chinese travelers. The report comes out today, and this is your first chance to see the results of the survey with data covering travel plans for the October Golden Week holiday and beyond, safety perceptions for 25 destinations around the world, overseas shopping, international flight booking preferences, AI for travel, and more. My name is Sienna Perulis-Cook, and I'm Dragon Trail's Director of Marketing and Communications. Joining me today to present the survey findings is Dragon Trail's research team with Janice Meng in Shanghai and Tiana Tian in Beijing. We're going to start off the webinar today with a brief update on some of the latest China travel news about the upcoming National Day and Mid-Autumn Festival holiday in October before sharing the findings of the new Chinese Traveler Sentiment Report. The report includes 6 sections on travel plans for Golden Week and the rest of 2025, destination perceptions, international flights, AI for travel, overseas shopping, and the impact of travel influencers. At the end of the presentation, which should last for around 30 or 40 minutes, we will have time for a Q&A session for you to ask any questions that you have about the report findings, trends in outbound Chinese tourism or marketing for Chinese tourism. You can ask questions at any point during the webinar by using the Q&A button on your Zoom control panel, and we will aim to answer as many as we can at the end during the Q&A session. Another thing to note is that we will be recording today's session, and later today we'll send all attendees a link to the recording as well as all of the slides from today's presentation. So you will have all of the information shared today for your own future reference or to share with colleagues. In case you're attending a Dragon Trail webinar for the first time today, I wanted to briefly introduce who we are. Dragon Trail International is a marketing solutions company headquartered in Beijing. And since our founding in 2009, we've focused on marketing for Chinese outbound tourism. So we work with destinations, airlines, attractions, retailers, hotels, and other travel brands and businesses around the world to help them connect to Chinese consumers and the Chinese travel trade. Our services include B2C and B2B digital marketing and content creation, offline, virtual, and hybrid events, research and strategy consulting, and market representation services. You can find lots more information about our services, case studies of our work, and lots of free resources on trends in Chinese tourism and marketing on our website, www.dragontrail.com. Our research arm, Dragon Trail Research, was established in 2019, and starting from 2020, we've been doing regular Chinese consumer surveys as well as surveys of the Chinese travel trade since 2022. In addition to the sentiment surveys, we also offer research services to clients, including bespoke surveys, focus groups, travel trade insights, and more. So let's get started now with some of the latest news about Chinese travel. One of China's 2 longest annual public holidays is coming up with 8 consecutive days off between the 1st to the 8th of October to celebrate China's National Day on the 1st of October and Mid-Autumn Festival on the 6th. Also called Golden Week, this is a peak period for Chinese outbound travel, especially to long-haul destinations. According to OTA Cunar's international hotel bookings as of last week, the top destination countries will be Japan, Thailand, South Korea, Malaysia, Indonesia, Australia, Russia, Singapore, and Italy. The countries with the fastest growth rates include Egypt, Vietnam, and Uzbekistan. A report from GZL International Travel in August identified 3 major consumer groups for Golden Week bookings. Gen Z adventurers accounted for 32% of their bookings, with travelers aged 20 to 35 seeking out internet famous destinations and following trends that they saw on social media platform Rednote, to niche photo-worthy destinations and adventurous activities like skydiving. Accounting for 21% of bookings, millennial parents are opting for visa-free, family-friendly destinations like Malaysia and the UAE, as well as Australia and New Zealand. Finally, the silver leaf peepers are travelers aged 50 to 65 who are taking longer, more comfortable, and higher-end trips to appreciate the autumn beauty in Europe, North America, and Japan. The report highlighted significant growth in inquiries and bookings for France, Switzerland, and Italy in Europe, as well as the Balkans, Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan in Central Asia, and Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia in the Caucasus. UTour's holiday preview data showed a 130% increase in outbound travelers. Like GZL International Travel, they also noted an increase in older travelers heading to North America to see the fall foliage. In Europe, Spain, Portugal, the UK, and the Balkans were the most popular, with growth rates of more than 90%. Leading short-haul destinations include Singapore, Sri Lanka, Bali, Brunei, and Vietnam, and niche dark horse destinations included Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia, Kenya, and Cuba. An overall trend for both domestic and outbound travel is that the average tour group size, or the standard tour group size, has decreased now from 30 people down to 20 people, with many tour groups for numbers even smaller than that. Airbnb said that Chinese searches for international accommodation during the National Day holiday period nearly doubled compared to last year. Japan remained the top outbound destination for Airbnb searches, with Italy, France, Spain, New Zealand, South Korea, Indonesia, Australia, the US, and the UK also in the top 10. Half of the most searched cities were in Europe, with hotspots in Italy, Spain, France, and Greece. And finally, digital platform Agoda reported a 26% increase in searches for Golden Week travel this year, including both domestic and international travel. The top outbound destination is Osaka, with just over double last year's searches, followed by Tokyo, Bali, Seoul, and Kyoto. So now let's find out more about Chinese travelers' plans for the October holiday and beyond with the results of our new consumer survey. As a bit of background, this is now our 12th Chinese traveler sentiment survey, since we've been regularly surveying Chinese consumers about their travel preferences and plans since the spring of 2020. The survey was conducted between the 20th and the 27th of August, with 1,076 valid responses. We control the demographic makeup of survey respondents to reflect the Chinese outbound travel market, in areas like the male-female ratio, age group, and city of residence. All survey respondents have an interest in traveling, and 49% of them had experience traveling outside of mainland China. We will share most of the results of the survey here, and you will get a copy of the presentation slides later today, but you can also access the full report already on the Dragon Trail website. So first, let's look at how Chinese consumers have been traveling in 2025 so far and their plans for the rest of the year. 2/3 of the survey respondents either had already traveled outbound as of August or had plans to do so. The results are fairly similar to last year at the same time. You can see those results in blue that I just put up on the screen. So we see a slight increase in those who have an outbound trip booked for later in the year, with 20% in this current survey compared to 17% last year at the same time. However, this year only 14% said they had already traveled outbound compared to 16% last year at the same time. And then this year, only 10% said that they definitely wouldn't travel outside of mainland China, compared to 12% last year. But overall, very similar results to last year at this time. The travelers who have already been outside of mainland China this year have been traveling a lot. 15% had taken 4 or more trips outside of mainland China, which was up from 11.9% last year. And 64% of those who have traveled outbound this year have already gone on 2 or more trips by August. We asked survey respondents who had traveled outbound this year about their most recent trip. 56.4% had traveled within East Asia on their last trip abroad, with Japan the most popular choice, followed by Macau, Hong Kong, and South Korea. More exotic, distant destinations included Iceland and Ireland. Now, turning to the upcoming October Golden Week, 35% of survey respondents had plans to go abroad, although 26% of them had not booked their trips yet by late August. The Chinese outbound travel market is known for booking travel last minute, and this has become even more of a market characteristic since the pandemic. With so many countries now visa-free for Chinese tourists, it is easier and easier for travelers to make last-minute plans. Among the 377 survey respondents who plan to travel outbound for the holiday, Asia is their top destination, chosen by 64%, followed by Europe with 23%. With its ample flight connections, short travel time, and new visa-free policy for groups of more than 3 people, which comes into effect on the 29th of September, South Korea is on track for a Chinese tourism boom. It was chosen by more than 16% of our respondents who plan to travel outbound for the October holiday, putting it firmly in first place. Macau and Japan tied for second place, chosen by 9.5% each, followed by Thailand and Hong Kong, each chosen by 5%. Survey respondents largely plan to go on their outbound trips in October, either with their partners or their friends, each chosen by 24%, and an additional 4% plan to travel together with their partner and friends together. Family travel is an important part of Chinese outbound travel, but it's less dominant in October compared to Chinese New Year or the summer holidays. In total, 16% of respondents plan to travel outbound with their children, either with their partners, together with their children, alone with their children, or as part of a 3-generation family group. Another 5% plan to travel with their parents. 9% of survey respondents plan to travel alone this October holiday. The rise of independent travel has been one of the most significant trends for Chinese tourism over the past decade, alongside the developing preference for private and customized tour products. Among our survey respondents planning an outbound trip in October, more than half, 56%, will be traveling independently, with 17% opting for private and customized tours and 27% choosing a traditional group tour. The results vary significantly by age group, with an overwhelming 71% of travelers born in the 2000s, so aged 18 to 24, opting for FIT. Things are a little bit more balanced for older travelers, so we can see in the 45 to 65-year-old age group, 44% each would opt for independent travel or group tourism. Private and customized tours are most popular among travelers born in the 1990s, chosen by 23%. The most popular choices for outbound travel purpose this October among our survey respondents were experiencing foreign cultures, visiting famous landmarks and attractions, and relaxation and leisure. Scenery, food, spending time with family and friends, and exploring destinations are also all top reasons for traveling outside of China this October holiday. 699, or 65% of our survey respondents, do not plan to travel abroad this October. We asked them about their reasons for not traveling outbound, as well as their main #1 reason for not traveling outbound. The leading reason was cost. 44% said this was a factor, and 34% said it was the most important factor. Flight tickets in particular can be significantly more expensive during this peak travel season. Overcrowded destinations were another leading reason to avoid October holiday travel, chosen by 32% and by 21% as their main reason. And although visa policies have been relaxed for Chinese citizens for many destinations, 34% still said that visa applications were one of the reasons they wouldn't travel abroad in October. Beyond the 2025 National Day holiday, outbound travel destinations such as Japan, Macau, the US, South Korea, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Malaysia are favored by Chinese travelers through the remaining 2 months of 2025 and into Chinese New Year 2026, which takes place in mid-February next year. Countries with ice and snow tourism resources such as Iceland, Switzerland, and Russia are popular choices during the winter season as our island getaways to the Maldives. Now to present the next sections of our survey, I'd like to welcome Dragon Trail Market Research Analyst Tiana Tian.
Thanks, Sienna. In Dragon Trail's Chinese Traveler Sentiment Survey, we continue to monitor Chinese consumers' interest in traveling to different world regions and their safety perceptions of outbound destinations. Compared to our September 2024 survey, Chinese travelers' interest in different world regions has for the most part stayed stable, with no change to the order of world regions. Europe remains the most coveted, followed by Northeast Asia and Southeast Asia, while the scores for most regions have only fluctuated by a few hundreds of points. Oceania has seen the biggest increase, with a gain of 0.15 points. On the other hand, interest in Southeast Asia has declined by 0.19 points. As we'll see on the next slide, this region also has relatively poor safety perceptions. Since our 2025 spring survey, safety ratings for 18 out of 23 global destinations declined, but mostly by only a few percentage points, and the overall order of the list has shifted very little. Thailand, which has seen Chinese tourism arrivals badly impacted by safety fears, improved its score since the spring, going from 19% to 21% safe and 51% to 48% unsafe. Neighboring Cambodia, however, is now rated by 64% of respondents as unsafe, up from 58% in the spring. Egypt also saw a noticeable decline from the spring, from 29% safe in the spring to just 23% now, and rising from 31% unsafe to 37%. Next, let's move on to the topic of flights. We asked more than 500 Chinese consumers with outbound travel experiences about their previous decision-making process for selecting and booking outbound flights. Their responses revealed their flight choices, seat preferences, booking habits, and key factors influencing their flight booking decisions for outbound travel. Sorry. Sorry. The strength of Chinese carriers for international routes has been a major feature of the post-pandemic outbound travel market, particularly for long-haul destinations. Information shared by survey respondents about the airline they flew for their last outbound trips also reflects this trend. China Southern Airline was the most popular domestic airline among surveyed outbound travelers, followed by AirAsia and China Eastern Airlines. Southeast Asian low-cost carrier AirAsia was the most frequently mentioned foreign airline, with All Nippon Airways, Emirates Airline, Qatar Airways, and Hong Kong's Cathay Pacific also standing out. 77% of surveyed outbound travelers booked economy class for their most recent international trip, and 11 bought premium economy flight tickets, with another 9% in business class. As for booking channels of last international flight, 53% of surveyed outbound travelers choose OTA channels, while 30% booked directly through airline websites. Offline travel agencies were selected by 14% of travelers overall, but this percentage is significantly higher among travelers aged 45 to 65, with 24% of this age group opting for traditional travel agencies. What are the important considerations for Chinese outbound travelers when booking outbound flights? 51% of outbound travelers consider a convenient flight time to be the most important factor when booking outbound flights. Next on the list of important considerations is price, with 44% prioritizing outbound flights with competitive prices and 40% seeking promotions or discounts during booking. Other key considerations include direct flight availability, seat comfort, and previous positive experiences with the airline. This year, we asked again Chinese travelers' attitude on AI travel assistance or functions. Chinese travelers' attitude have shifted compared to last year. The percentage of travelers who consider AI travel assistance or functions as not useful enough dropped from 51% in our September 2024 survey to 40% this year. Meanwhile, 37% travelers are optimistic about the future of AI travel assistance or functions, up from just 5% last year at this time. 10% say AI has already improved their trips, which is double the percentage in 2024. Language translation is still the number one area where Chinese travelers think AI can most optimize their travel experiences, chosen by 63% of the surveyed respondents. Besides, Chinese travelers are using various platforms or tools to assist with planning or arranging their trips. Large language models are the most widely adopted AI tools for travel. 64% of respondents have used DeepSeek, and 63% have used Doubao for trip planning. AI assistance from Trip.com Group have already been used by 51% of travelers. As a key platform for travel inspiration and planning, Xiaohongshu's AI functions has also used by 45% of travelers. And for other sections of the sentiment survey, I'd like to turn over to Janice.
Thank you, Tiana. Now let's take a closer look at the shopping behavior of Chinese outbound travelers. Chinese tourists are the world's highest spending international travelers, with overall Chinese outbound tourism expenditure reaching 251 billion US dollars in 2024, according to the latest data from the UN World Tourism Organization. And what are their spending habits, especially when it comes to shopping? We asked the survey respondents who had traveled outside of mainland China in the past how much they spent in total on their last outbound trip. 57% of respondents spent between 5,000 and 20,000 renminbi per person, which is approximately between 700 and 2,800 US dollars, with international airfare, accommodation, and local expenses included. 35% spent over 20,000 renminbi per person on their last outbound trip. We also asked about Chinese tourists spending on shopping specifically, and nearly every one of the 526 experienced Chinese travelers shopped on their most recent outbound trip. Around half of the respondents spent between 1,000 and 5,000 renminbi on shopping, which is between 140 and 700 US dollars, with 43% spending over 5,000 renminbi. Where did these Chinese outbound travelers shop? 57% of our survey respondents went shopping in shopping malls or department stores on their last outbound trip. Airport duty-free shops were another popular shopping destination, selected by 53% of respondents, which is higher than downtown duty-free shops, chosen by 34%. Other places commonly visited by Chinese tourists for shopping include souvenir shops, supermarkets and convenience stores, and local markets. What motivated Chinese tourists to go shopping on outbound trips? Buying local specialties as souvenirs and buying gifts for family, friends, or significant others were the top reasons for shopping among Chinese outbound travelers, with over 40% of respondents selecting each option. On the other hand, only 34% that said they shopped for themselves on their last outbound trip. Other reasons widely chosen by respondents include better prices overseas, buying products not available in China, and better quality and services. To understand the preferences of future outbound travelers, we asked the 550 survey respondents who had never traveled outbound what they would most be interested in buying on an outbound trip. Souvenirs and handicrafts, as well as local food and snacks, are the most popular items, each chosen by around 2/3 of the respondents. Other categories that would most attract potential outbound shoppers include cosmetics and skincare, fashion clothing, and luxury items, selected by 38%, 30%, and 28% respectively. Next, let's turn to the following section of our survey, which focuses on travel influencers. Our past consumer surveys have highlighted the importance of travel influencers as a source of information and inspiration for Chinese tourists. But to what extent do they impact travel decisions? Results from our latest survey show that although 86% of respondents follow travel influencers online, only 11% believed that their travel booking decisions were directly impacted. Gathering practical travel advice and learning about destinations of interest are the top motivations for Chinese consumers to follow travel influencers. Travelers aged 35 and above are more likely to seek travel deals and discounts from travel influencers, while younger travelers aspire to the lifestyles of key opinion leaders more. Meanwhile, respondents also expressed concerns about overly commercial content and lack of authenticity, which is more prominent for travelers aged under 25. Respondents aged 45 and above said that they trust information from official or traditional sources and the experience of close acquaintances more. For overseas destinations and brands that want to engage with Chinese consumers through influencer marketing, it is essential to build trust and credibility and convey authenticity to Chinese consumers. This brings us to the format of travel content on social media that would most attract Chinese consumers. 49% of respondents prefer medium-length videos of 1 to 5 minutes and photo and text posts each. Another 42% find short videos of less than 1 minute to be most engaging. Although only 17% of respondents overall selected live streaming, this format is more preferred by travelers aged between 35 and 44. 25% of respondents in this age range indicated that they would like to see travel-related content via live streaming sessions. Only less than 1% of surveyed Chinese travelers said that they don't browse travel content on social media. Now I will turn over to Sienna to wrap up the key findings of our latest survey report.
Thanks, Janice. That now brings us to the end of our survey results and time to review 7 of the top takeaways. First, our survey results reveal a market that appears to have stabilized after many dramatic years of contraction and recovery because of the COVID pandemic. Intention to travel outbound, interest in different world regions, and safety perceptions for destinations around the world have not changed dramatically since last year at this time. Second, as of August, 35% of survey respondents said that they plan to travel overseas during October's Golden Week, but only 9% had booked their trips at that time. 64% of October holiday travelers plan to stay within Asia, with South Korea a particularly popular destination alongside Japan and Macau. Third, our survey results really underscore the trend towards FIT and customized travel, with more than half of survey respondents planning an outbound trip in October, choosing to travel independently. 17% will opt for customized or private tours, and 27% will choose a traditional group tour. The trend is even more pronounced among younger travelers, with 71% of the post-2000s generation choosing FIT. Fourth, Chinese airlines have become even more competitive in the post-pandemic era, in part because of international airspace restrictions. And most survey respondents said that they flew with a Chinese carrier on their last outbound trip. Fifth, less than 1% of survey respondents said that they didn't shop on their last outbound trip, with 43% spending at least 5,000 renminbi or $700 US on shopping. Shopping malls and airport duty-free shops were the most popular places to shop, with travelers more likely to buy gifts for others rather than to shop for themselves. Sixth, 86% of survey respondents say they follow travel influencers online, though only 53% believed that those content creators had influenced their travel decisions. Travelers aged 35 and up are more likely to follow influencers for travel deals and discounts, while younger travelers aspire to KOLs' lifestyles. And finally, attitudes towards AI for travel have become much more positive in the last year. The proportion of survey respondents who think AI isn't helpful for travel has declined sharply, while those who are optimistic about the technology has grown. Chinese large language models like DeepSeek and Doubao are the most commonly used to help plan travel, followed by AI tools from Ctrip and RedNote or Xiaohongshu. As I mentioned before, we will be sharing today's presentation slides with everyone later today, as well as a link to read and download the full September 2025 Chinese Traveler Sentiment Report. But if you just can't wait to read the whole thing, it is already available on the Dragon Trail website in the resources section. Also on the resources section of the site, you'll find a sentiment reports tab where you can find all of our previous consumer sentiment reports and travel trade survey reports as well. In addition to sentiment reports, our free online resources include videos of all of our past webinars, Chinese social media rankings for international tourism brands, marketing case studies and guides, and much more. You can sign up for our newsletter for monthly updates and future webinar invitations, and also follow us on social media channels, LinkedIn, Twitter, and WeChat for regular updates. So we are now ready to take your questions, and you can send those in by using the Q&A button on your Zoom control panel.